So I'm getting sued by a credit card company.
I am currently, as of this morning, have $55,399 of credit card debt.
If you want to hear something really totally embarrassing for me, I was supposed to have a court date today.
So today we're going to be talking about the consequences when you don't pay off your credit card debt. This topic was recommended by one of you guys, but for the life of me, for some reason, I cannot find the comment. So whoever commented saying that I should look into Discover because they have been suing their customers who haven't paid off their debt, this video is for you. So we're starting to see people online have to go to court to try to settle their case, or if they ignore it, they start having their wages garnished. And I don't have to tell you how important it is to pay off your debt, especially when we're talking about credit cards. 20 or 30% interest now. Those rates are brutal, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to have to be summoned in court because I'm getting sued for my debt. So we have a lot of examples to go over today, along with some of your comments from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments below. But let's just start off with this clip.
So I'm getting sued by a credit card company. It's an old credit card. I have trial this morning, and I was served my papers about 2 months ago. And I've done a lot of research as far as what I need to do, what I should say. And from what I was seeing in other videos, a lot of you guys actually are going through the same thing. So I tried to do my own research, got as ready as I think I could be, got all my papers and stuff this morning. We'll see how this turns out. I'm about to go in. My trial is, I have the appointment for my trial at 11 a.m. So it's in less than an hour here. But if I end up coming out on top, I'll try to make another video if you guys are interested, just in regards to what I did, what I said, the route I took in order to fight this thing back. So wish me luck, and I'll see you guys after court.
What I find interesting with a lot of these clips having to fight back and what you're supposed to say in court, I guess a win is to try to settle, is that it's almost like these people didn't run up their cards in the first place. Now, I know there are some cases right now in 2025 with the high cost of living, people are just buying necessities with their credit cards because they can't afford to survive on their salary. But as we're going to see, a lot of people have the exact same excuse. Oh, it was a really old credit card. I thought I'd pay it back eventually. Maybe it wasn't even a lot of money, so they basically played chicken with the credit card companies. Oh, you won't sue me for $1,000, and then they go and do it. Some of the examples in this video are crazy because people actually had the money, they just decided not to pay it off. I don't know what the thought process is, but we can look at a couple of the comments and hear the polar opposite stories. I had court for a credit card and didn't go, and nothing happened. Guess what I got? Another credit card. Sounds like somebody who would just be perpetually in debt, never saving up for anything, getting whatever they want, and never being financially ahead. Along with the next comment, I filed bankruptcy when they tried suing me. Another reason why I don't like bankruptcy, it's just a reset switch for people, not an actual way to change their lives, almost like a get out of jail free card. We have another Bank of America sued me. I didn't go, which I should have. 7 years later, they found out where I worked and garnished my wages. That almost took me out. Always show up. Same exact thing happened with a comment from one of you guys. I thought I was going to skip out on my debt, but then I got sued. I guess it's kind of the same mentality with the PPP loan fraud. If I just don't respond and it's been years, you know, they won't go after me. They'll just forget about it. They got more important stuff to do. And honestly, that's just not the case.
Get ready with me to go and get sued. A couple weeks ago, I was sitting at my house when a lovely police officer came over and served me papers and let me know that I was being sued and had to make an appearance in court. So I'm like, okay, this is a prank. I'm actually being sued. Come to find out, I am being sued for a credit card that I had when I was like 18 years old, 6 or 7 years ago. And these heifers are suing me all this time later.
So another reason why I think being financially literate at a very young age is so important right now. Hopefully my type of videos could bring in a younger audience, even with all the TikTok drama, the crazy stories of people being in debt, will hopefully persuade you to not follow in their footsteps. Because she was 18 years old and it was 6 or 7 years later. So before we look at the comments real quick, this is a TikTok account with 1.6 million followers. Massive influencer, which means a significant amount of money is coming in as well. And she commented commented on her own video, this is a judgment-free zone, so no mean comments about my dumb decisions. Because clearly people would look at the account, know that she would be making a good amount of money online, and you didn't decide to settle any of the debt, and now you're going to court because of it. Another comment asked them to settle and meet in the middle with the payoff amount, which I guess is the goal for everybody who's getting sued. I freaked out and paid it all. I was also too scared to ask to settle. So you had the money to pay it off, but you thought you could get away with it because, again, it was years ago, just like the PPP loans. And that's why I get so worried when I see so many videos like this online now.
I'm in $135,092.74 in debt.
I'm 35 years old and in $169,292.74 of debt.
I'm 31, I'm single, I live alone, and I have $29,445 in credit card debt.
I could probably make a compilation that's an hour long of exactly this over and over again. Now, I will say most of the people who talk about it on TikTok are trying to pay off their debt. I have seen some users just say really large numbers because, of course, it'll get a whole bunch of attention, and they try to start a career off of that, and then it really fizzles out. But when we start seeing videos a little bit later that these companies are suing over a couple $100 or $1,000, if you're in 5 or 6 figures worth of credit card debt, you have a way bigger chance of going to court. Another comment from one of you guys, they just made it so you could be sued by the collectors, exactly what we're seeing, and it'll automatically be deducted from your paycheck. Now, some people still aren't taking this seriously, even if you get a judgment, which I think is crazy.
There are a lot of things in this world that don't mean, but I'm here to tell you that if you are sued by a creditor because you have not paid them and they get a judgment against you, it means, okay? Coming from the lawyer. I don't know where this guy went to law school, but I'm here to tell you that if you live in any other state other than North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, and Pennsylvania, a creditor will take that judgment and they will garnish your ongoing wages at 25%. It's 25% here in Ohio, right off the top. They can also garnish your bank account. And oh, by the way, they can put a lien on your real estate. You know, the home that you live in with your family. Now, if you don't have a job and you don't have a bank account and you don't have real estate and you don't ever plan to have any of those, yeah, screw it. But if you do want a life, you're gonna have to address these things. Come and follow and like for more. Don't listen to this guy.
And especially with the almost YOLO mentality, which is, I know, very cringe to say in 2025, but the doom spending and instant gratification, people will just think that, oh, this is what my life's gonna be, whatever. I won't have a bank account or any land. I'm just gonna spend, do whatever I want until I'm 80 and die. But life happens and things change, especially over time. Maybe you do want a life down the road, but you've made some catastrophic choices in the past and you can't live the life that you want. But from what she said, North Carolina, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Texas are the only states that won't do this. We see a whole bunch of the comments. That's why Texas is so awesome. LOL. Too bad for them. I don't want to have a job, nor do I want property. Also, I'm in North Carolina. Again, you may think that way now, but it could completely change in the future. One of the best examples for myself, when I was around 17, 18 years old, I didn't want to have any kids. And now currently I'd like a somewhat big family. I guess in today's world, 3 or 4 kids. Drastically different choices, but that's what happens with time. So if you make one of these choices in the past, it could really come back to bite you in the future.
Get ready with me as I get ready for a court case, as I'm getting sued by Credit One Banking from a credit card I opened up when I was 20 years old. I opened up this credit card mostly to help fund me in college. The limit was only $350, but unfortunately I broke my shoulder the same year. I have a huge scar and I couldn't pay it back. It then went to collections, and furthermost, I just thought that later on I would maybe pay it back in life. Maybe, I don't know. I would pay it back, but just not now. And then I got sued. So get ready with me. They're only suing me for $700. That's all they want, which I have in my account. But I'm gonna try and see if I can get it down just for my $350 limit. I feel like I have lived 1,000 lives for being only 26 years old.
So I would say right off the bat, $700 is pretty petty, but it is also Credit One Bank, a notoriously bad credit card company. And on the other side of the coin, even with the broken arm, I guess that means she couldn't pay it off. She just thought, oh, one day I'd pay it off, but never took the initiative, even though she has the $700 in the bank account right now. So she could have paid this off before she had to go to court. So whatever whatever the settlement is, most likely it'll be a little bit less. But now it turns into a whole ordeal. Again, I don't want to go to court because I'm getting sued, possibly having to take off work, which turns into losing more money. This is something that could have been very easily avoided. Again, she had the money in the bank account already. It's not like she's broke. And now we're seeing credit card companies go after people for $700. So when we see comment sections like this, I think everybody should be worried. Girl to girl, how much credit card debt do you have? If you don't look, it's zero with almost 70,000 likes. 30,000, but if the government can be in debt, so can I. We've talked about that before as well. The difference is, even though it's extremely unfair, the government could print money and normal people cannot. We are not on an even playing field, so your entire life could be ruined, but the government will just keep chugging along. $40,000, LMAO, oops, and then even the creator saying, we're just girls, adding into the girl math and I'm just a girl trend we talked about a while ago. 2,500, and it stresses me out. I don't know how people have over 10,000, and then the next comment, 15,000 in credit cards and another $7,000 loan. We have a comment from one of you guys. Klarna is getting sued for overcharging. We'll talk about that in a second. Most of my family and friends are in deep debt. If I use a credit card, I don't carry a balance. Pay it off or don't use it. Crazy living. Doomsday living and traveling for these next generations adds into the doom spending and, oh, I'll never own a property. I'll never have a bank account. They can't garnish my wages if I don't have a job. I'm just going to travel forever, which definitely just isn't a realistic life. But going back to Klarna and me hating on it basically for the entirety of my channel, making people think that it's cheaper than it actually is because it's in 4 installments or 6 payments. So that $100 item turns into like $20. It gets some dopamine in your body because you could buy items all the time. Delayed gratification is a thing of the past, and then your entire life starts spiraling out of control. And surprise, surprise, Klarna losses have doubled after 136 million in customer debts went unpaid. So all the people making the arguments that I do it for whatever I can, I pay all my installments. This isn't bad for people's mental health when it comes to finances. You could see right here, over $100 million in debt unpaid. People are just not paying.
If you want to hear something really totally embarrassing for me, I was supposed to have a court date today. Yeah, I ignored a debt collector and they sent it to a law firm to sue me. And yeah, I got sued by a debt collector. And I thought the chances of that happening were like slim to none. Like, it was only $1,000. Do they really want to like have to go after me for $1,000? Like, what is that? No, they did. Yeah, they sent the constable to my house with the papers saying that I need to sort this out. Long story short, I settled for 80% of what I owe, and I paid it all off like 12 days ago. Thankfully, like normally I would not have been able to do this, but my husband got a raise at work and it's been great. And yeah, my court date was scheduled for today. Thankfully that was canceled, but that was like the scariest thing I've ever had to do in my life. I was like, I don't just pay. I'll just pay. I'm like, I don't want to have to go to court. I have anxiety.
So because she was playing chicken with the credit card company because it was only $1,000, her husband loses an extra $800 off of his raise because she didn't want to deal with her own actions. This is crazy. No accountability. Synchronomy Bank tried that with me. I don't think I'm saying that correctly. And then the creator again, like, wow, they're so broke. They're only after little old me for $1,000. Does that mean you're even more broke because you couldn't pay off that $1,000? This video is actually more depressing than I thought it would be.
These are 3 companies that will sue you so quick and send you a summons if you go into a derogatory state with them. So starting at number 3 is going to be Citibank. Citibank does not play when it comes to the debt that you owe them. If you owe Citibank a debt, best believe they're going to do everything in their power to get that money back. And that could be sending you a summons in hopes you don't respond. That way they can garnish your wages. Number 2 is Discover. Discover will also send you a summons if you have an unpaid debt with them. Discover has a very strong legal team, and they will too send you a summons in hopes that you don't answer so that they can garnish your wages as well. They will try to get their money back, and Discover goes to extreme measures to try to do that. Number 1 is American Express. If you owe American Express money, they will go through extreme measures to try to get that money back. So Citibank, Discover, and American Express do not play when it comes to the money that is owed to them. They will do the most to try to get that money back, and that will be taking the money from your paycheck, just snatching it out so that they can get paid back. If you have defaulted with any of the three, make sure you work it out with them. That way they don't snatch it out of your paycheck.
And one of these companies was the inspiration for this video. I guess they have a really solid legal team and they're just suing the crap out of everybody right now. And we have some comments adding on to that. Discover put a lien on my grandma's house after she passed and I had to pay $5,000 to get it cleared. They're not playing. Wow. You're absolutely right. Discover is the worst. And from what the first clip said when he was looking up information because he was getting sued, he saw that a lot of people were having the same thing done. We got one here, a credit card from 10 years ago just sued me. I've offered them what I could pay each month and they weren't happy, so they asked the judge to issue a judgment against me. Now they're going to garnish my wages I barely have. So I think the judgment is a very good segue to the next clip.
If you're being sued for a past due debt, there's only one thing that you need to know, and that's this. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. So let's say you fall behind on a debt. It goes to collections, you refuse to pay or you can't pay, and then ultimately they file a lawsuit against you. Now, assuming that you're smarter than 95% of the people who get sued, you respond to the lawsuit because if you don't respond, they're just going to get a default judgment against you and then it's just game over. So let's say you respond. Now, you've seen enough content to know the collectors need to prove their case. And let's say that in this case, you know that they can't do it. Let's say they don't have the original cardholder agreement. They don't have proof that they own the debt. So you win, right? Not necessarily. Ultimately, the case gets decided by a judge. And that judge is just a human being. And they've got their own biases and their own preconceived notions about the world. So you can win the case if you get one judge. Or if you get a different one, maybe you're going to lose it. And it's completely up to chance which way it's going to go.
So if you get sued and decide to go to court and not pay off your debt, you want the result of what will happen to you to be on one single person. You have no idea what they're like. Basically, everything is in their hands. It just seems like a very scary situation to me. What happens if they want to make an example out of you? All because you didn't pay off your credit card debt, which could be as little as $1,000 or $350. Just not something that I want to mess with at all. So when we see clips like this, I get even more worried for the creator.
So let's talk about my credit card debt so you feel better about your finances. I am currently, as of this morning, have $55,399 of credit card debt. And that is across 7 different credit cards. So let's go through each of them. This one right here, this is actually a balance transfer from Citi cards. And this currently has $2,070 on it. Be the first one I actually pay off because this zero balance actually ends in June of this year. So that will be a priority as of right now. So number 2 is actually a care credit through Symphony Bank. And this currently has $6,439 on it. Now, we got this one last August when our dog had to get surgery to remove underwear from her stomach. So that was a really big blow on our credit payoff journey because it added about $9,000 to our credit card debt. Number 3 here is another Citi card, and this one has $13,754 on it. So the next 2 I have actually really hurt, and this is where the majority of our debt is. So the next one I have is Williams-Sonoma, and this one has $17,863 on it. And the last one that I have here is Wells Fargo, and this is my oldest credit card, and I have had this since I was 19 years old, and I'm turning 38 on Saturday. So you can do the math of how long I've had this one. And it also has the lowest interest rate of about 12%, which is amazing for a credit card. But this one is essentially maxed out at $24,999.
I know that in comparison to other credit cards right now, 12% isn't bad, but if you got a car loan that was 12%, that would be considered pretty bad on maybe a $25,000 vehicle, just like the maxed out card. So it's still a ton of interest at the end of the day. I think she had a card from Symphony Bank, which might have been that bank that I didn't know about earlier or probably pronounced wrong. The dog underwear story was completely out of left field, but 7 different credit cards over $55,000. She did say that she was actively trying to pay it off, but if any one of these companies do want their money now, they still can try to sue you.
Average credit card debt by income. This data was collected by the Federal Reserve as part of their survey of consumer finances, which was completed in 2023. The way that they have this income data segmented is actually by income percentile, but for more relevant comparison, I'll be sharing the median annual salary for each income percentile. Before we begin, no matter where you fall on this list salary-wise, I don't think anyone should be paying the average credit card interest rate of 24.28%. If you have credit card debt, please prioritize getting it out of your life. To begin the list, at the lowest income percentile, a median annual salary of $20,540, 33.4% of these people have credit card debt with an average balance of $3,630. Moving on, median annual salary of $43,240, 46.4% of these people have credit card debt with an average balance of $3,840. Next, median annual salary of $70,260. 56.9% of these people, the highest in this list, have credit card debt with an average balance of $5,950. Next up, median annual salary in the six figures at $115,660. 54.4% of these people have credit card debt with an average balance of $7,440. Median annual salary of $189,160. 44.6% of these people still have credit card debt. I do not understand this. An average balance of $8,900. Finally, this is unbelievable. I have no idea why these people would still have credit card debt. But a median annual salary of $390,210, 25.4% of these people have credit card debt with an average balance of $11,000.
I don't know why his video abruptly ended like that. It was the original upload, but the $390,000 a year income still had, on average, over $11,000 in credit card debt. And no matter where you are on the income, it was almost 50% of people had revolving credit card debt. Now, hopefully, if you're watching this video, you're not one of the 50%, but it still shows even if you make $189,000 or almost $400,000 a year, that lifestyle creep can still get you into credit card debt. Now, it's clearly not nearly as bad compared to somebody making like 20 or 40 and 70,000, but I agree with him. If you're making that much money, there is no reason why you have revolving credit card debt at all.
I got sued by American Express for a credit card that I never paid back. What should I do? I mean, pay it. You know, if you got sued for a debt that you actually recognize and accumulated, the best option is to not just ignore it, it's to pay it. You can reach out to the law firm or American Express and come to a payment plan with them in order to settle and satisfy the debt. Otherwise, if you ignore it, then you could potentially have it lead to a judgment or even worse, a garnishment where they're pulling the money out of your paycheck directly and you don't have a choice in that matter anymore. So I recommend, again, if you happen to get sued on an account that you recognize, make sure to respond. You typically have 20 days to respond to a summons. The other thing to keep in mind is you need to make sure that if you are getting sued, they need to serve you the papers in person and not just drop it off at your doorstep. Because who's to say that you actually did or didn't receive the summons if it was just left on your doorstep and you weren't actually receiving it in person? So reach out to American Express or the law firm, come to a settlement. A lot of people, unfortunately, try to avoid these scenarios and it typically plays out not in their favor. I'd rather you be on the safe side and protect yourself from a potential garnishment down the line.
So I guess that's why in the previous stories we heard the police coming to the door and other people serving them papers in person. And we have an example with American Express, what we heard earlier. Very good legal team, and they'll do anything to get their money back. Now I think for some people, even though I don't 100% agree with this, might need to start thinking of not using credit cards at all.
If you're $7,000 in credit card debt, the first thing you're going to do is take those cards, find a shredder, and shred them immediately. The fact that you got here with credit card debt means that you're going to do it again. So you will never use a credit card again the rest of your life. The next thing is don't lose hope. $7,000 is a very reasonable amount to have in credit card debt. There are people with $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in credit card debt. The fact that you are leaving this comment and you're watching my videos tells me that you want to do the right thing. So don't be discouraged. You are in a very workable spot.
So as I've said, I'm not against credit cards as a whole. If you have the discipline and you're not going to overspend, even if you have a crazy high limit, depending on what you use, you're leaving money on the table. Points, cash back, miles for flights, because at the end of the day, maybe you're not going out and spending a whole ton of of money on frivolous items, but everybody needs their necessities: gas, paying bills, groceries, and in today's world, that still means a lot of money. So if you could get a couple percent cash back, or maybe some miles, extra points, whatever it is, I think that could be a good thing for a lot of people. But others don't really think that way. They see a $10,000 credit limit and they think that they could just spend $10,000, and then unfortunately they could get into a situation as we saw in this video. So hopefully this is a little bit more of a deterrent to not get into credit card debt. Try to avoid it at all costs. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.